Hello everyone, I'm Morgan, and today I wanted to talk to you about my 2019 statistics. I have been dreading making this video, and so I'm late in doing it, because I just have so many stats to share with you, and I didn't know what to share or what not to share. But so let me just give you all the statistics about my reading in 2019. The reason I have so many stats is because I've been using the 2019 spreadsheet made by Sophie at the channel Portal in the Pages. I will link to her video for this year and to her link to the 2020 spreadsheet that I've been using now. But so I have a lot of statistics because of this spreadsheet. So the first statistics that everyone is interested in are the total books that I read, and so in 2019 I read 117 books, and that made for 38,231 pages. I read 59 books from my TBR only, and the average page count per book is 327. This used to be much higher in years previous, but since I discovered audiobooks, and I've just been liking shorter books now, but I am looking to increase that number. I had 110 books on my TBR when I started the year 2019, and when it finished I had 158, so I had plus 48 books on my TBR, and I'm not happy with that. But as you probably saw in my 2020 reading goals, I'm looking to bring down my TBR, so I'm not buying as many books. I spent 792.73 euros on books in 2019, which is a huge number, but then again, I bought 110 books, so that's a lot. And some of them, though, I did not buy because I do go to this free library in my city, and those also count in the bought books. But I do buy a lot of my books new, and I've just been buying more books since I've had a salary, actually, because I've started working every single week. I work 3 days a week, plus I have classes, so I have quite a bit of money to spend on books or whatever I want. So the average cost per book that I spent is 7.21, which is not too high, I think, because I did buy some books that were really expensive. Like I bought the Testaments right when it came out, and that cost me 26 euros, which I think is like really too expensive, but whatever, I wanted it. My average star rating is 3.58, which I'm fine with. You know, I'm not looking to love every single book that I read. Some books are just worth the read even if they're not perfect, I think. I DNF'd 16 books. I reread 7 books. I unhauled 13, so without reading them. And then I have my average book per month, which is at 10 per month, though I do read more some months than others, as you will see. And same for the page count, like this differs from month to month, because sometimes I'm reading mostly short books, and sometimes I'm reading longer ones. But the most I have read per day in a month is in December, because I read 156 pages per day. I do, however, listen to a lot of audiobooks. Specifically, I listened to um, 61 audiobooks in 2019, so that's a lot. I just have been listening to audiobooks a lot, just when I wake up in the morning, when I have to go out, and whenever I have time during the day. It's a really nice way to get through books, in my opinion. And I also got a new reader this year, a new one. And so I've been reading quite a lot of ebooks. And so in 2019, I read 24 ebooks. And yeah, so for page length, as you will see, most of the books that I read were between 300 and 399 pages. Then it is 200 and 299. Then 199 tied to 400 499. So like mostly the books that I have read were around 350 pages. That's the average. And yeah, I didn't read a lot of long books, as I said, in 2019, but I plan on it. As far as genre is concerned, the genre I read the most is fantasy. That's not really surprising. Then it is literary fiction. Again, not very surprising. Then science fiction. No. Fantasy, science fiction, literary fiction, contemporary, historical fiction, and then fiction or thrillers. I don't think I read that many thrillers, but apparently I did. And now for star ratings, the rating I gave the most, so I rate with half stars. The rating I gave the most is 4 stars, then 3 stars, then 3.5, then 4.5, 2.5, and yeah, and the others, I only gave 5 stars to 12 books. Though I mean, 4.5 is still a really good rating as well. As for the publication year, most of the books that I read were written between 2016 and 2018. Then I read a lot of books from 2011 to 2015 and from 2019. And then it's just pretty normal. I read 77% adult books, 18% YA, and 5% children, which doesn't really surprise me. I read 3 books in translation. I read 5 books that were written in French. I read 38 books that were part of a series. I read 56% female authors and 43% male authors. And again, that's pretty standard for me. I just read slightly more female authors, though I do read some male authors as well. For author continent, obviously North America and Europe are the top continents, but I did read a few books from other continents. I read 18% POC authors, and I would like for that to go up in 2020. I read 70% new to me authors and 30% that I had read before. Again, I tend to read just a lot of new authors just because I hear about so many different authors, especially on BookTube, so I want to try so many books. And to go back to the money I spent and the books that I bought, as far as the genre of the books that I bought, I mostly bought literary fiction books, then classics, then historical fiction, and fantasy. But I bought all over the board as always. And I bought a lot of books towards the end of the year because that's when I started to work. I started to work during the end of the summer, so that's when I started to have money to buy books. So at the beginning of the year, I wasn't spending a lot of money on books, and then it just went crazy. And the most I've spent on books in a month is 205 euros, which is enormous. But I just went crazy, I guess. And 53% of the books that I bought were used, and so 47% were new. I bought 48 of my books in an independent bookshop and 51 from online retailers, so that's pretty much average. I borrowed 17 books in 2019 at the library. And the last thing that I think I will say is towards the format of the books. The format I read the most is audiobooks. I read 46% audiobooks, then 29% paperbacks, 7% hardbacks, and 18% ebooks. I actually separate like the books that I own from the books that I don't own in the format. So like ebook plus is books that I read in ebook format but that I own, and some for audiobooks. So I did read 10% of the books on my shelves on audiobook. And I think that's it. So yeah, a lot of statistics. I hope you enjoyed this. Please tell me what you thought of this video. I don't know. I love watching statistics video, but I don't know how great they are to make though. So I hope you enjoy this. Please tell me anything in the comments, and I hope to see you soon in another video. Goodbye. Dream I know, deep up my feelings.